Imagine waking up one day beside the person you thought would never betray you, and realizing the unthinkable has happened, not because love died, but because something deeper, more hidden was at play. Why would a man who still swears he loves her cross a line that shatters trust? It's a question that rattles the heart and stirs a quiet fear in every relationship. And before you answer, no, it's not always about just being a man. And yes, gentlemen, you can unclench your jaws now. In the next few moments, we're going to pull back the curtain on the invisible forces, emotional, psychological, even biological, that can lead to choices we never imagined making. And I promise you, what you discover might completely rewrite how you see loyalty, love, and yourself. But be warned, once you hear this, you'll never look at commitment the same way again. Picture this. A man sits in his car late at night, staring at the steering wheel, his hands gripping it so tightly his knuckles turn white. He's just left the woman he swears is the love of his life, the one he's built years of memories with, the one he still thinks about when he closes his eyes. And yet, he's on his way to someone else. Not because he stopped loving her, not because he doesn't value her, but because there's an ache, a hunger deep inside that he can't name, a need he's never learned how to voice. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Unmet emotional or psychological needs are not just gaps in a relationship. They're ticking time bombs, silent and invisible, waiting for the moment to detonate. The terrifying part is, most people in love don't even know the fuse has been lit. This is where the story turns. Love, as we've been taught, should be enough. We grow up hearing that if two people care deeply for each other, they can weather anything. But what happens when affection, attraction, and shared history are all present, yet a quiet void still exists? Sometimes it's a lack of emotional validation. Sometimes it's a craving for admiration, for a spark that reassures you're still desirable, you still matter. Other times, it's not even about the partner at all. It's about the man wrestling with his own identity, his worth, his sense of being seen. And here's the dangerous twist. The longer these needs go unnamed, the louder they become. They start whispering through moments of boredom, nagging in moments of stress, screaming in moments of loneliness. You might be thinking, well, why doesn't he just say something? Great question. But here's the pattern interrupt. If it were that easy, we wouldn't have a $1 billion industry of self-help books, therapy sessions, and late-night regret. Now imagine the gradual erosion. At first, it's nothing. Maybe he works later than usual, maybe he doesn't share his wins or struggles like he used to. Slowly, the relationship becomes a place where he feels loved, but not fully understood. The paradox is brutal. He's committed, yet quietly starving. He wants her, yet something in him is searching. The excitement he once felt in the relationship becomes routine, predictable, and the human brain, wired for novelty, wired for stimulation, starts scanning the horizon for moments that feel alive again. It might be a harmless conversation with someone new, a compliment that hits differently, a glance that lingers a fraction too long. That tiny moment can plant a seed. And if the soil of unmet needs is fertile, that seed doesn't just grow, it thrives in secrecy. The urgency here is real because when emotional or psychological needs go unmet, it doesn't just risk infidelity. It reshapes how someone shows up in every part of the relationship. He might become withdrawn, irritable, more critical, not because he stopped caring, but because he's wrestling with an invisible emptiness. And the most dangerous part, many men don't even consciously realize what's missing. They just feel off, disconnected, restless. And in moments of vulnerability, they might make a choice that has nothing to do with wanting someone else more, and everything to do with wanting to feel whole again. This is the slippery slope most people never see coming until it's too late. But here's where the tension builds. If unmet needs are the real driver, then what are they? Recognition, respect, physical connection that's more than mechanical, emotional safety, where he can speak his fears without feeling weak, a sense of adventure and challenge. These aren't luxuries, they're fuel. Take away the fuel, and even the most beautiful car will eventually stall. Yet here's the irony. Many couples don't even talk about these needs until the damage is already done. Why? Because the myth of love is enough makes people believe that acknowledging a gap means the relationship is broken. But in reality, not acknowledging it is what guarantees the break. And the next chapter in this story is where things start to unravel in ways most never anticipate. It starts in a moment so ordinary, you wouldn't even notice it if you were standing right there. A casual conversation at a coffee shop, a meeting that runs a few minutes too long, a shared laugh over something no one else in the room caught. There's no grand intention, no dark plan brewing, just a spark. But here's the part that should make you pause. For some, that spark is enough to override years of promises. Not because the love they have at home has vanished, but because impulse, opportunity, and the intoxicating pull of novelty can be more powerful than we like to admit. The frightening truth is that the human brain is hardwired to chase new experiences, to seek that dopamine rush, and when it collides with an unguarded moment, even the strongest commitments can feel like they're standing on quicksand. We like to believe that commitment is a fortress, impenetrable to temptation. But think about it. How many times have you been on a diet, felt completely sure of your discipline, and then found yourself staring at a slice of cake like it was speaking directly to your soul? Replace the cake with a moment of human connection, an unexpected compliment, or the thrill of being noticed, and suddenly you see how fragile discipline can be when impulse and opportunity align. The problem isn't just that temptation exists, it's that it often arrives dressed in innocence. A business trip, a harmless lunch, a just friends conversation, but beneath the surface, the brain is lighting up, craving the unpredictability, the rush of what's new. This is where desire for novelty enters like a silent intruder. It's not always about wanting to replace someone, it's often about wanting to feel something different. Long-term relationships, no matter how healthy, naturally shift into a rhythm. That rhythm can feel safe and comforting, but to the restless part of the human psyche, it can also feel predictable. And predictability, while essential for stability, is the exact opposite of what novelty offers. Novelty is excitement, it's mystery, it's the rush of stepping into the unknown. And here's the kicker: the brain rewards novelty with chemical fireworks, making it dangerously addictive. In the moment, those fireworks can override years of shared history, mutual trust, and the logical reasons to stay committed. Opportunity is the perfect accomplice. Without it, impulse has no stage to act on. An opportunity doesn't always look like a neon sign flashing danger ahead. It can be as subtle as extra time spent with someone, as circumstantial as being away from home, as situational as alcohol lowering inhibitions. The urgency here is that these moments often come without warning, and if someone hasn't built strong mental guardrails, they can slip from harmless to catastrophic faster than they ever imagined. And don't roll your eyes and say, well, I'd never let that happen. That's exactly what most people think right before they find themselves justifying choices they never thought they'd make. The most unnerving part is that impulse isn't always driven by dissatisfaction at home. In fact, many men who cheat under the influence of novelty or opportunity still feel deeply connected to their partners. This is where the fear sets in, because it means love alone is not always enough to safeguard fidelity. When the thrill of something new collides with the thrill of being wanted, the mind can rationalize almost anything in the heat of the moment. And once that mental door is cracked open, it's far easier to step through than most realize. There's also a deeper psychological layer. Novelty has the power to temporarily make someone feel like a different version of themselves, more adventurous, more confident, more alive. For some, that temporary transformation is intoxicating. It's like getting a taste of who they once were or who they wish they could be without the weight of daily responsibilities and expectations. This self-reinvention, however fleeting, can blur the lines between reality and fantasy. And once fantasy starts whispering in someone's ear, it's hard for commitment to compete with the adrenaline surge of the forbidden. Impulse, when combined with opportunity and novelty, works fast. The decision to cross a line often happens in seconds, but the path toward that moment can be months or years in the making. A buildup of small, seemingly harmless interactions, a lack of conscious boundaries, a slow desensitization to the danger, and then the moment. The moment where logic loses the fight to emotion, where the rush of now drowns out the weight of later. This is the exact intersection where relationships are most vulnerable, and the terrifying part is how quietly it can all unfold before anyone realizes what's at stake.